Remember when conservatives and others in the Republican Party tried to sell us on the idea that Kash Patel is a libertarian free market guy? And if Trump is able to hire him as the director of the FBI, he's going to clean up all this corruption in the department. Well, Kash Patel is engaging in some corruption of his own by suing Elijah Schaffer for saying bad things about him on the internet. Check this out.
Over the weekend, I received concerning news that I was being sued for $5 million by Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. And the reason why might actually shock you. About a couple months ago, I posted this photo on the public social media platform X. I posted it with no caption, no suggestions of any malintent or any slander, defamation, or criticisms of character. I did so attached to an X post shared by another account that I'm not connected to that talked about government agents being compromised. Now Alexis Wilkins is saying that I owe her $5 million for damages, the exact evaluation of my company, and if I cannot come up with that money, that I'm going to have to shut down my business, give up all of my digital assets and my entire voice online in order to pay her back. So why does Kash Patel's girlfriend want to silence me? Well, it comes down to the lawsuit itself. Before anyone jumps to conclusions and says, well, don't say that she's a honeypot, I'd like to say, I never did. I never would. I never felt like suggesting that, never even suggested that in my own head. So why am I being sued for something I never did? To give proof of that, in section 14 of the lawsuit, it states, while the defendant may not have included any caption to spell out the meaning of his post, he didn't have to. Ever since Kash Patel was appointed as director of the FBI in February of 2025, the conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading false narratives about Miss Wilkins as an Israeli Mossad agent, spy, or quote, honeypot, who is only in the relationship with Kash Patel to spy on and manipulate the United States government. Defendant's wordless reply, it goes on to say. So to clarify, before we go any further, if you post a public photo of a government official and his romantic partner, who he's not married to, a very important fact we'll talk about, you as a private citizen or a member of the press can be bankrupted, have your entire company shut down, or completely mocked, slandered, and dragged through lawfare because of what? Because of your First Amendment protected rights.
Well, I mean, just to clarify, he hasn't been shut down and his bank accounts have not been drained, but that is the threat by the girlfriend of the current FBI director, who is currently working with the deputy FBI director, Dan Bongino, to hide the Epstein evidence and files as per Pam Bondi, who's covering everything up for the Trump administration.
Now, I believe that this lawsuit is not only an attack on our First Amendment and our constitutional rights given to us by God, but I believe this is also a violation of SLAPP ordinances. This seems to be a proxy lawsuit, if anything, from Kash Patel himself, and I have the evidence to prove it. We'll start here by talking about what is this lawsuit about and why is it so concerning. As I just read in the previous section, Alexis Wilkins states that I never said anything about her being a Mossad agent. So how am I being sued for saying anything about that? Considering I'm being sued for things I didn't say? Yeah, you heard that right. They're suing me for the implications based upon previous posts I had made on my X account, not about Alexis, not about Kash, but about the state of Israel. I take you to section 17 of evidence. Defendant frequently posts anti-Israel rhetoric accusing Israel of controlling the United States and its politicians, in which they share a post that I said Trump doesn't want to admit that Netanyahu doesn't fear him. Israel has more control over the USA than we do over them. Our politicians are hook, line, and sinker, sold out to the Jewish state of regime. It's genuinely disheartening, and we must remove these parasites from AIPAC. They also posted more evidence in the lawsuit, nothing to do with Alexis Wilkins, nothing to do with Kash Patel, and nothing to do with me saying anything about her being a Mossad agent.
And keep in mind, this FBI and this FBI director are the best, presented as the best that conservatives could have hoped for. This FBI director, Kash Patel, was the best foot forward for this organization. We're going to root out corruption. We're going to make things different. Things are going to roll a whole lot better. We're going to secure your right to say whatever you want to on the internet while we're protecting you from the bad guys. And now the very people that the conservatives wanted elected are coming around to bite them in the arse.
I never said it, so they don't have evidence. So why is it that they've made the entire lawsuit about my thoughts on the Israeli government? That's highly suspicious. They also posted more evidence where I said my entire feed is just about people glazing Israel and defending the occupation of our nation. It's incredible. It all happened after the forced TikTok sale on behalf of the ADL. I also said you either get Israel-controlled politicians who hate you or foreigners who hate you. Welcome to America. I hate it here. And one of the last posts they put, there's many more that I'll read, is it breaks my heart that Trump could have been if he wasn't a slave to Israel. Tragic. Now, if you're like,
this is a supporter of Trump. And now Trump and Trump's FBI are turning on Americans simply for posting their opinions online.
Like me, and you're wondering, what did I possibly do to receive a lawsuit for $5 million, which they suspiciously got the exact valuation of my intellectual property, that would force me to shut down and apologize and turn over all my assets to the district court, that would require me to turn over communications in discovery, which I'll talk about planning on doing and how we're going to be responding to this. I'm going to tell you, this is a very dangerous precedent for the American people, because the entire evidentiary case they have against me is that I do not support Israel, that I do not believe that Americans are free, that we are occupied by Israel, and that my criticisms of Cash are why this is filed. Now, let's talk about this. I want to clarify these things. I never said anything about Alexis Wilkins, period. She said that I had a wordless reply. Sounds dystopian, doesn't it? She also said I didn't imply anything about her being a Mossad agent. In fact, it says that I just posted a picture of our unmarried head of intelligence in our country, one of the single most important positions in the world, that is dating a girl who we know nothing about. He is not married in a committed relationship by law. That's important. And he's on the dating market. Do you want your FBI director to be on the dating market? I just think it's interesting, whether he's with her or anybody else. It's like, yeah, people can, be susceptible towards whatever's going on. And that's not even why I posted the photo. But, well, people could be. So what would be wrong if somebody even did imply that? I didn't imply it. But it's like, even if they're accusing me of doing what they say I did, is there a crime in just wondering if your intelligence agencies are being led by uncompromised individuals? No, obviously not. Look at James O'Keefe's entire investigative portal. He literally finds unmarried government officials, intelligence operatives from the CIA, and he sets them up on fake dates, uses them to get sensitive information, and then compromises entire departments. It happens all the time. Americans have the right to question if that's happening to anyone in our government. Doesn't matter if they're a private citizen or a public figure like Miss Wilkins, who, by the way, Cash has said is a public figure. He boasts all the time how she's one of the most popular country singers of all time. She's also a PragerU commentator, another organization tied to the IDF and Israeli government alleged.
I don't think Cash Patel said that his girlfriend is the most popular country singer of all time. I think he said something like she's an accomplished country music singer, or a very talented, but not the most popular of all time.
Well, I'll tell you this. I want to ask yourself the question here. If the head of the FBI girlfriend is suing a private citizen and a journalist for posting a picture without any inference, based only on the evidence that he criticized a foreign government, we have to ask ourselves, not only is Alexis Wilson foolish, is she stupid? That's my question. How dumb are you that you would file this lawsuit? You're making a mockery of yourself, your own intelligence. You make embarrassing your boyfriend. But most importantly, you're embarrassing the FBI, the United States government, and overall the Trump administration with your foolish attempt to try to intimidate and bully someone from being able to use their First Amendment right. So I ask myself these two questions.
Another thing that Cash Patel said about his girlfriend, which is really ironic that she would actually sue somebody for saying something on the internet or posting their opinions. Cash Patel said that she is something to the effect of the most honorable American. She's one of the best Americans that he knows, one of the most patriotic Americans.
Cash Patel know about this? Well, if he doesn't, and he doesn't know that his girlfriend is waging $1 million lawsuits using, according to Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone, she's using Cash Patel's legal resources, his own law firm. She's using the FBI director's law firm. Now, that's Max Blumenthal's reporting. We'll see if that turns out to be true. Well, if he doesn't, what kind of FBI director doesn't know that his girlfriend is filing frivolous lawsuits against the press for an ungodly amount of money using his attorneys and his name to weaponize the legal system against the journalists and a media company. True. Now, if he does know, this is a proxy lawsuit now by Kash Patel, the FBI director of the USA. And now this is problematic because now you have the most powerful law enforcement agency in the entire country trying to stop private citizens from posting public pictures I guess they don't like. Are we allowing ourselves to do that? Are they allowed to do that? I don't think so. So now, of course, we're on the fence here. If we allow Kash and his girlfriend, who are now obviously, this lawsuit wasn't about her, it entirely deviated from anything about her. It was all about my criticisms of Kash, the way Kash has been under stress. And again,
on an unrelated but relevant issue, remember the guy, the former deputy of 20 years who was just arrested in Tennessee and put in jail for over a month and a half with no bond, simply for posting a picture of Trump and a quote of Trump that they related to a school shooting, which was the justification the local sheriff's department used to go to this guy's house, go into this guy's house and arrest him?
Paints me as an anti-Semite. Now, why would they do that? Well, there's only two reasons. Either A, they're trying to make the court think I'm a bad person so that they'll rule in her favor by smearing me and slandering me with unrelated facts, or B, that's what this lawsuit is about. And I believe the latter. They're both true, but the latter. This lawsuit is about silencing critics of Israel. Now, this kind of stuff happens in Australia where they don't have God-given rights. It happens in the UK. But the fact is, well, she might argue, hey, she's a public figure. She's not a government official. But if she's using the director's law firm, this is very serious. This is a proxy lawsuit to bully me, the American people, a small independent media company, into not being able to comment on our elected and appointed government officials, their affairs, and their public life. We are taking this on full force. My company will not be intimidated by government officials, their proxies, or Trump's inner circle. We did not take money from Miriam Adelson, and here at the Rift TV, going to rifttv.com, we are asking you guys to support us in this legal fight because
Donald Trump takes money from Miriam Adelson. What's she up to now? $140 million? What is she getting for that money, Donnie? And the whole thing is so ironic because the Elijah Schafers of the world and the other conservatives and Republicans told us, you need to vote for Donald Trump. This is how we steer the ship toward freedom in America. You need to have Donald Trump. You need to petition Donald Trump to appoint Kash Patel as the FBI director. This is how we turn things around. And yet this happens right here. And if this is going to happen to Elijah Schafer at the behest of the FBI, this just swings the door wide open to the precedent where it can easily happen to the rest of us, where they deploy the resources of the FBI to come after anybody that they don't like, anything that they didn't like posted on the internet.
because again, we have been implicated on nothing. We have been accused of nothing. We have been told that we said nothing wrong. We have never been accused of lying. And by any fact, there's nothing in this lawsuit that states that we did anything criminal, libel, or defamatory. All it states, and you can see the documents there at the Gray Zone article linked here, all it states is that we are critical of Israel, and therefore we are endangering her reputation and her husband's or her boyfriend, whatever they are. We don't know what they are. And that is enough to ruin your life. Do you want to live in a country like that? Well, we're striking back legally. We've attained one of the biggest legal teams in the state of Florida in the circuit court, who has graciously taken us on. We will be taking legal donations. There is a legal fund below to take on the federal government, which we believe is doing this by proxy. We are filing to dismiss this and pursue further legal discovery. We would like to obtain communications between Kash Patel and his girlfriend to find out if he knew about these lawsuits, to find out if she ever informed him, and to go under discovery and under deposition to find out exactly what went on. Now,
this will be interesting. If they are able to subpoena those phone records, it'll be interesting to see what Kash Patel says about this.
She's not just asking for a legal lawsuit. She's asking me to go before a jury. That's very important in a district that's very unfriendly with people who think like me. Calculated? Of course it is. Now, what does this mean for the American people? If you can be sued by Trump's inner circle into financial bankruptcy for protected speech, I would like to say that this lawsuit, if at all even entertained and not dismissed, is an all-out retaliation over free speech in this country, based solely on the predication that I am critical of Israeli influence in our country.
It can't be emphasized enough that this is a guy who at one time wholeheartedly supported the Donald Trump who is turning on him.
I believe these people have overstepped their boundaries as citizens of this country. They've overstepped their legal boundaries as plaintiffs in a lawsuit. And I also believe they have overstepped their boundaries as American representatives and those in such high positions as being romantic partners and directors of the FBI.
How are any of these people surprised that this is what the Trump administration is going to do to you? And how can they ever be trusted when somebody more believable comes along? They're definitely going to steer their audience to support that guy too.
This is a full-on assault on our First Amendment. And now you might be asking, why me? Why Elijah Schafer? Well, I'm big enough that they can send a message. You will see this video. But I don't have the bank account of Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, or Candace Owens. I'm just a little guy like you guys trying to make a little bit of a difference, what I can, for my two beautiful sons, my lovely wife, and the rest of my supporters who care about the truth.
Why do these rich people always act like they're not rich? This guy is making bank. Have you ever seen his views on X? I can't even imagine what his X paycheck is every 2 weeks.
Now, all the mentions about my criticisms of the Israeli government in the lawsuit, it's completely irrelevant here. And we're still want to know in discovery why they decided to include that as the entirety of the document. It's all about Israel. And they're mentally probably trying to silence anyone who's critical of their regime. Not only would I like to say I will not be retracting any of my criticisms of Israeli occupation of the United States government, but I will continue to criticize our politicians, Kash Patel, and all others who are seeking to undermine our ability to speak freely in this country.
Everybody knows we've been taken over, but everybody wants to pretend that every election cycle, hey, things are different this time, when everybody understands, they have the full understanding that Israel is in control of our government. If you vote for Kamala, you voted for Israel. If you vote for Donnie, you voted for Israel. If you got a black Barack Obama, you got Israel, period. Every vote is a vote for us, say the oligarchs.
Look, you may love Israel and you may hate Israel, and that's irrelevant to me. You may be a Democrat, you may be a Republican. That's not that's important here. If we are not allowed to criticize people, and by the way, I didn't even do that. If we're not even allowed to just openly speak, then we are headed down the path of the United Kingdom. We're just retweeting someone or resharing a post. They're mad about the contents of a post underneath my picture. Don't mention her either. They're mad about what he said. And that's not what I said. So now I can be in trouble for something someone else said online? We really want this as a nation? Suing over a photo with no caption is lawfare meant to intimidate me? But bad news for you guys. The American people don't just go away. We don't just let people like Kash Patels in this country step on us. My family was here before the revolution. We are heritage Americans, Mr. Patel. With all due respect to your position, your girlfriend is embarrassing the administration, and we're not going to let this slide. This is a
How can you embarrass an administration that you just admitted is completely controlled by a foreign government? This is ridiculous.
Partisan concern that we all hold together, saying, hey, whether you came last week or you came hundreds of years ago with your family, we're all here in this present moment together. And we're not going to allow this type of slap violation that we believe get in the way, like they did to Trump during the Russiagate. I don't know who you're going after. I don't know if I'm the intended target, but you're trying to make me be collateral, and I'm not going to take it. You wanted a fight? You got one, Kash. God bless you and your girlfriend. I want to say that God protect you and protect you against smears that you've sought to do against me, as you thought to ruin my reputation, damage my credibility, and bankrupt me. Americans do not take government bullying like this lightly, and neither do I. We aren't ones to back down from government intimidation or overreach. I'll see you guys in court.
All right, that's Elijah Schaffer being targeted by a Trump administration official, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you want to support this channel, you can do it for free. Just like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon. If you want to support further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, and I will see you in the next video.